Where the headline ends, the real story begins. Dark Street Diaries exposes the shadows, the secrets, and the souls behind the crime. The streets keep receipts. We just read them out loud. Welcome to Dark Street Diaries. He was a deputy with the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, a uniformed law enforcement officer entrusted with public safety and community trust. On paper, he represented authority. He was one of the good guys, but behind the badge, a dangerous unraveling had already begun.
Internal Affairs documents show this all started the night of October 24th, 2023, when Deputy Marvin Morales conducted a, quote, suspicious subject stop. The report says he recovered drugs in a piece of tinfoil that he thought was meth. We now know it was fentanyl.
On the night of October 24th, 2023, Deputy Morales made a routine stop. He seized what he believed to be methamphetamines from a suspect. But later that evening, inside the central station, in a public bathroom stall, he intentionally smoked the seized drug. The substance was not meth, as he assumed, but deadly fentanyl. Moments later, another deputy discovered him, unconscious on the bathroom floor. Fellow officers administered doses of Narcan, reviving him just in time. The incident triggered an internal affairs investigation. The findings were damning. It was no accidental exposure. Morales admitted to using the confiscated drugs. And worse, for weeks, he had allegedly used a meth pipe he'd taken home after a prior arrest. Blood and hair testing later confirmed chronic substance abuse, including methamphetamine, indicating a deeper addiction problem.
Now, in January of last year, the sheriff's office notified the deputy that it planned to fire him for doing drugs on the job, not following booking procedures for drugs, and for lying. But before the department could fire him, Morales resigned, and he said that was for personal reasons.
On February 2nd, 2024, under mounting pressure and internal scrutiny, Morales resigned. A few days later, he voluntarily surrendered his police officer badge and certification, ending his law enforcement career. Losing his job and certification did not stop the downward spiral. It exposed it. Once part of the system, Morales became untethered from the structure that had defined his identity. What followed was a descent into a private hell: addiction, isolation, possible mental health breakdown. At approximately 8 a.m., the peace of a quiet suburban street in Elk Grove, California, was shattered. The mother of 2 children, an 11-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter, rushed to call police after watching live security camera footage of the father assaulting their son inside the home. When officers rushed to the 7600 block of Farrell Way, they found the boy gravely wounded, stabbed multiple times.
We've just learned the name of the Elk Grove boy who was stabbed and killed by his father yesterday morning. He has now been identified as 11-year-old Mar Aris Antalan Morales. Officials say the boy's mother called 911 about 8 a.m. yesterday after seeing the assault on a home security camera inside their Elk Grove house. The boy had several stab wounds and was taken to the hospital, where he later died. A 6-year-old girl was also in the home. She was physically unharmed and we're told is safe now. The children's father and former Sac County Sheriff's Deputy 40-year-old Marvin Morales was gone by the time officers arrived at the home. Morales was let go back in 2023 after lying about having a fentanyl overdose on duty. Yesterday, Sac County Sheriff Jim Cooper was one of the first to spot his vehicle along I-5 going southbound. Morales then led law enforcement on a chase through parts of 2 counties. He was ultimately shot and killed. CHP was handling this investigation. They've now handed it over to the State Department of Justice. And the community is mourning with that family. A growing memorial sits outside their Elk Grove home. It was started by a neighbor who says she doesn't know the family but felt like she needed to do something.
We cannot bring this loved one back, and so as a community, I just want them to know we're here. Here's a little bit of light to keep them going in prayers and thoughts and whatever we can do.
Community members have brought candles, as you see there, and family and flowers. They say they want the family to know that they are not alone in this devastating tragedy. We'll continue to follow the latest developments on both of these stories on air and on.
Morales was taken to a hospital but pronounced dead. No officers were injured. Authorities have not publicly confirmed whether Morales fired at them, and the empty gun safe, combined with preliminary evidence, suggests he may have been armed. The shooting remains under investigation. The consequences were immediate and far-reaching. A child's life lost, a family was torn apart, and a community struggled to reconcile the duality of a man who once wore the uniform and swore to uphold the law, but ended as a murderer. In the wake of the tragedy, the local school district where the 11-year-old had been a student offered grief counseling and support services to the affected classmates and staff. Authorities described the incident as horrific and senseless. Local leaders voiced grief and disbelief, particularly among colleagues and residents who trusted Morales for years. This tragedy forces uncomfortable questions. How could someone sworn to protect even have accessed and used narcotics seized during an arrest? In retrospect, the overdose in 2023 should have been a glaring red flag. What support systems were missing for addiction, for mental health, oversight that may have prevented this unraveling? Could intervention from colleagues, supervisors, family, or the justice system have saved not just Morales, but his innocent child? As investigators continue to piece together the final hours of that December morning, the community is left with a brutal truth. The badge does not guarantee integrity. Authority does not immunize from addiction, and a tragic outcome can come from someone once entrusted with safety. The legacy of Marvin Morales ends not as that of a deputy, but as an accused murderer, a father who failed the most fundamental duty. The boy who was lost, the 11-year-old, leaves behind grief, unanswered questions, and a haunting void. In the quiet aftermath, the community must grapple with the dual weight of grief and accountability. As one official stated, this is a horrific and senseless tragedy, but for the boy's mother and for the community, more than a tragedy is what it was. It's a wound that may never heal. This is the story of Marvin Morales. Please like and subscribe.